What's good, guys? So I got three spicy techs for you for the June format that we're in right now, right after Lightning Overdrive. The two big decks that we have to worry about if you're going to any tournament or playing in the LCS has to be Dragon Link and any of the Tri Brigade decks. Most of them are going to be the Zoo variant. And then after that, I would like to say it's probably Drytron just because it's relatively new and so many people want to test different versions of the deck. But let's get right on to it. The first card I want to talk about, the spicy tech I got for you guys, Ghost Ogre and Snow Rabbit. So I've talked about Bell many times, and I've talked about Ash. Ash has been a staple for so long, and Bell is kind of coming back and seeing a little bit more play because it can hit things like World Legacy, Guard Dragon, and Revolt. But why is Ghost Ogre so crazy, and why haven't I talked about this? So if you guys don't remember, this card hasn't seen much play recently. It saw play probably a year ago a lot when the Dragon Link deck was playing with like Agripane and things like that. I believe that's like a year and a half ago. In that format, we saw Ghost Ogre a lot. But the effect is when a monster on the field activates its effect, or when a spell trap that is already face up on the field activates its effect, quick effect, you can send this card from your hand or field to the graveyard, destroy that card on the field, only once per turn. So why do I think this card's really good? This card's super underrated right now, and I think it's really good if you have it in conjunction with multiple hand traps. So against Dragon Link, the cards you can actually destroy with this cards off the top of my head are going to be things like LP. If they are not a good Dragon Link player, they probably won't have the arrows set up the correct way to play around the Ghost Ogre, but you can do that. So I don't think LP is the biggest one. The other one is Boot Sector Launch. Boot Sector Launch is actually an insane extender most of the time, getting them 2 to 3 bodies on the field. Hitting Boot Sector is really strong, and usually it's before they have a Savage. The Boot Sector leads to the Savage or the Guard Dragon combo, so hitting Boot Sector is really strong. And the other big card is if they go for the Romulus, then you can hit the Ravine as well. So those are three good targets. Now for all the Zoo decks and Tri Brigade decks running around, so every Tri Brigade deck, if they have Tanky, they're most likely going to go for the Rat play. If you Ghost Ogre on the Rat itself, it makes it very awkward for them to keep playing. They have to have Fractal or Karas, and like it's going to lead to the Karas. So they have to have a combination of two different cards because the Karas can only special summon if you have another Tri type. So in that matchup, that's good. And another application is against Appaloosa. So say Tri Brigade set up their whole entire field. They have Appaloosa, Double Dragon Lord, and Revolt set. If you have Ogre Bell, you can, when they go Revolt, you go Bell, they go Appaloosa negate, then you can go Chain Ogre, and if you destroy the Appaloosa with Ogre, Appaloosa does not negate. I don't know if many people know that, but this is a ruling from a bit ago, and it hasn't come up for a bit because Ogre hasn't been in the format. But if you Ogre this card, the card that it tried to negate, because it can't reduce its own attack, it resolves. So those are the two popular matchups. Ogre also hits random matchups because it's so generic. It's just destroying a card. Hitting randomly a Zeus because they have 4-6 materials underneath it is really solid. Hitting Dryden, hitting just random things, just a problematic monster. So I think Ghost Ogre is very underrated right now. Ghost Ogre is definitely good, especially in conjunction. I wouldn't recommend playing it if you only have slot to play like 6 hand traps. Probably the best ones I recommend is Ash Impermanence right now. But after that, it's a toss-up right now because a lot of people are swearing by Nibiru, Droll. There's so many. I need to make a new hand trap video for sure, but Ghost Ogre is up there. And then what's another spicy tech? Zombie World. So a lot of people don't know about Zombie World. Zombie World can be teched into most decks. You don't have to be playing like Eldritch Zombie or a Pure Zombie or some deck with Unizombie in it. If your deck can play field spells, I've talked about the field spell Zoo deck. The field spell Zoo deck can play Zombie World. If your deck can't integrate Necro Valley into it because you need the graveyard, I recommend playing Zombie World. So all my Eldritch players there, you don't even have to play a giant zombie package, but Zombie World, all it does is all monsters on the field and in the graveyard become zombie monsters. Neither player can tribute summon monsters except zombie monsters. I don't think the tribute summoning part is that relevant right now, but guess what this does? It hits both Dragon Link and Tri Brigade so hard. Dragon Link literally needs dragons to make any of their big Link plays, and then you no Striker Dragon anymore, no LP, none of that. It's so oppressive. If you have Dryden Zombie World, it's probably just game. And it's the same thing with like Conquistador with Zombie World. It's so solid. And then against Tri Brigade, guess what? They need the Tri types to keep playing. And guess what? They're not Tri types anymore in graveyard or on the field. The only out in Tri-Brigade is them trying to get to their own Zeus or Dryden to pop this. I think Zombie World is super solid. If you can main deck this, if you're playing an Eldritch deck, I'd highly recommend going the Zombie World route. It's super solid field spell that I forgot to mention in my field spell or the Floodgates, but this is an oppressive Floodgate. Super solid. If you can fit it, if you can find a deck to play this in, and this one's so much easier to play than Necro Valley. That's why I like Zombie World so much right now, because it hits the two best decks really hard. And even Drytron, there's some awkward spots where they're going Medionis, the rituals spell, and you can make it very awkward for them to get their ritual monsters onto the field. Highly recommend Zombie World. And then one last card that is the Spicy Tech and Soul Drain. I'm sure you've seen this going around as well. I've seen it on DB, and I definitely do like it. It's just the same concept as any other Floodgate. If you're going to play Macro Defissure, if your deck can't play those, but if your deck can play Soul Drain, go for it. Activate by paying 1,000 life points. Monsters that are banished as well as monsters in the graveyard cannot activate their effects. Simple effect. You're preventing the Tri-Brigade effects that go to the graveyard. It's okay in that matchup. It's also really good into Drytron because so many of their cards are just resolving in graveyard. I'd recommend playing Soldier. Soldier randomly just hits other decks too. It'll hit Dino. It'll hit Prank Kids. There's so many decks that you need their graveyard effects. So that's a monster I got for you guys. Ghost Ogre, then a spell, Zombie World, and then Soul Drain. 3 spicy techs. Let me know what you guys think about all of this. These are definitely some solid options for this format right now when you're trying to deal with all these Tri-Brigade decks, all these Dragon Link decks. Until we see a new list come out, I'm going to keep letting you guys know what you can play to get a little edge, and there's an LCS right around the corner right now. I'm super excited to see what kind of decks are going to be there. Hopefully some new things. I'm definitely looking forward to some new things and not just a bunch of Tri-Brigade and Dragon Link. Guys, stay tuned for more. Like, comment, subscribe, hit that notification bell, and peace.